Oh, very good evening, everyone who has joined us today. Finally, we are about to start our new season, which is IRC Season 9 here with the F123 game, which is still going, surprisingly. Today, joining me in Combox is Simply, fresh after his commentary at the esports series. So, Simply, what are your expectations for today's reveal? And well, it's not much of an expectation considering you are one of the coordinators and you have seen most of the grid. So not much of a surprise from your side, but I will definitely be surprised. I haven't gone through it so, furiously, and obviously the new allotment mechanism that we are gonna have today. So what are your expectations today, or what two words would you like to say before we start with the grid allotment?
Well, not a lot of expectations because I know these guys will perform quite well and of course will produce amazing races that will be coming up ahead of us in an amazing calendar which already is revealed, and of course we've had a very good positive feedback on it. People are clearly liking it and I just cannot wait to get started here.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a big break since we had not done a league racing here, and it's fun to see it back. And obviously the 28 people who are watching us, we are obviously watching the chat as well, since this is more of like an interactive session. So let's just start off with the schedule of today's grid reveal. So just to give a brief about how the grid reveal will look like for today, we will be starting off with the intro itself, and then where we will just talk about the basics of what the league racing here at IRC is, the details about the coming up season, and more information about the same. And then we will follow up with the tier reveal itself, where we will reveal who will be in tier 1, tier 2, and what will be the timings and all those things, and coordination team as well, and basically the working of the tiers. And obviously we will finish off with the team allotment. That slide is new for everyone here at IRC, because till now we have been doing allotment, but today is different, and we are having something interesting today. So simply, let's just start off quickly with the introduction today.
Absolutely. We will, of course, go in the order that you have mentioned. So, starting off with the history of IRC F1 League, which been going on for 11 seasons now. Not 9, they punch you, 11 seasons. And it has been an amazing journey for IRC, as well as everyone taking part in it, because of, the amount of participation we've had over the years, especially of course during lockdown, and even after that, the amount of enthusiasm people had, the amount of excitement people had to go racing, and not just in our F1 leagues but also in other our flagship events like the Regions Cup, Pace Off. We've seen amazing amounts of participation and a lot of enthusiasm in those, and of course IRC has continued to grow, and we've very recently reached 2,000 members. So of course, thanks for everyone joining and everyone taking part. And season 11 is absolutely a very big milestone for IRC, because not a lot of leagues, personally speaking, not a lot of leagues even survive beyond say 8 or 9 seasons, and we've been here for 11 and we're still going very strong. So it is going to be a very big season indeed, and of course very recently we also celebrated our 10th season. So yeah, good stuff from there. Coming to the IRL F1 silly season stuff, the Stake F1 team's livery got revealed, and the funniest comment I saw under that was the fact that they're comparing it to Ben 10's characters, which I see it, to be fair.
Honestly, even I see the same in all the liveries that have been revealed. Not gonna lie with those comments that have been made.
Absolutely. And yeah, let's not forget the big news. And we can see the Ferrari right in front of us, of course. Hamilton moving to Ferrari in 2025. Even I did not see this coming. I thought in Mercedes or another Mercedes powered car, he would go and just retire there. I did not expect him to move over to Ferrari, of all the teams that were on the grid. Carlos Sainz will be replaced by Hamilton, of course, so no idea where Carlos is going. A lot of drivers, their contracts are ending at the end of this season. So, if anything, both the real life seasons as well as our season 11 are going to be very interesting to look forward to throughout this whole year.
Yeah, definitely. And I am seeing a lot of people in the chat asking ABD to say something. Small tip, don't say it unless you want to get banned from the chat. So yeah, don't say it. But yeah, that's a good summary of what we expect. Speaking of the F1 23 game state, Simply, what do you have to comment on that?
In my opinion, it did start off quite well, but there hasn't been really many changes, of course, with the introduction of red flags and, not introduction, but rather the reintroduction of red flags. And, of course, people obviously having a much better experience compared to F1 22. It is in a very good state right now with... in comparison to F1 22, of course, a lot less bugs, and even in comparison, if you're taking the physics of the cars and just the general enjoyment of the game, people are absolutely loving it. And so, of course, we had to do it justice and bring our flagship season to it, and then not just leave it to Challenger Series.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of flagship, we have a special thing that we are introducing this season. We are introducing prize pool for the top 5 finishers. Simply, could you give a bit more details on that aspect as well?
Absolutely. The prize pool will be there for tier 1, the fastest drivers in India on the F1 game. That will be reserved for those guys, and of course keep on waiting to see who those guys are going to be and of course what teams etc they're going to get, because it is going to be very, very spicy. It is going to be the prize pool for the top 5. Total pool is of 8,000 rupees. Winner gets 4,000, P2 gets 2,000, P3 gets 1,000, and P4 and P5 both get 500 rupees. So amazing prize pool to start out of, especially for our first season of introducing the prize pool. And let's not forget that we have a very interesting calendar that also will be coming up, which is already revealed. A great mix of race producing tracks as well as very challenging, for the drivers tracks, which will both of course produce equal amounts of chaos as well as racing. And let's not forget, sprint races will also be there.
Yeah, definitely. This prize pool is gonna bring in some spice, some more drama on the track, I would say. Because, yeah, if there is money involved, there is more wheel-to-wheel battles, and definitely we are expecting this season to be very action-packed. But speaking of the season, let's start off with the, the tier reveal itself. So the order will be something like we will be first revealing the tier 2 grid, followed by the tier 1 grid, and followed by the reserves grid. Just because I said tier 2, tier 1, that confirms that we are gonna have 2 tiers this season, and we have few drivers who are in the reserves. We didn't had enough drivers to make a 3rd tier, so we have put them in reserves. They will obviously get chance whenever a permanent seat driver is not available to race that weekend. The race time for each tier, for tier 1 it stays on Sundays at 8 p.m. and for tier 2 it is again Sundays in the afternoon at 2:30 p.m. We also have a very big coordination team who will be helping with the coordination of season 11. Simply, why don't you introduce our coordination team?
Absolutely. Starting off with our lead, Tanish Agarwal has been an absolutely amazing lead so far. A person the whole coordination team looks up to. And yeah, he's just taking us in the right direction regardless of the situation, and has obviously given us great inputs throughout the season, while also taking in opinions from everyone, including the drivers, the admins, and basically the whole team involved, to make sure that this season goes as smoothly as possible. We of course have me, SimplyYT, as one of the coordinators. We have Vicious Agarwal, or just Vicious. We have Sir SSJ Assassin. We have Jose Hero, and we also have Heisenberg, who will be helping out both the tiers run completely smoothly throughout the season.
Yes, definitely, and I am pretty sure the coordination team will do their best to make this season as smooth as possible. But without further delay, let's just hop on to the tier 2 grid reveal. So these are the drivers who are gonna be a part of our tier 2 season 11 league racing here at IRC. Starting off with the first pairing. So one more thing to note is, please, the drivers who are watching it, keep a note of the slot number that is there beside your name, and obviously you have your driver 1, driver 2, so keep a note of your teammate as well. Why that is the case, we will let you know soon in the next 1 or 2 slides that we come up with. But let's start off with the driver pairing. The first slot or the first pairing is of Vicious and Wizard of Oz. So Simply, what are your thoughts on this pairing?
I mean, I'm completely out of words for this pairing, not because I'm disappointed in any way, but rather because Vicious is the strongest contender for the tier 2 championship here. Faster by a second to the guy who was in P2 in terms of total number in the time trial signups. He was faster by a second. I mean, he's already won tier 4 before, so if anything, he is in contention to win tier 2 as well, moving him further up the ranks, and who knows, maybe in the next few seasons he could also be competing in tier 1. Wizard of Oz, a very seasoned driver here, is going to be a solid contender for that P1 as well. But of course, it all comes down to his consistency, which has been a bit of an issue in the past, but I'm pretty sure that he will be working to iron all of those out even before we start the season.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always a team game, so they have to work together if they want to get the constructor title. But yeah, moving on to the next pairing, it is of Uttapalutra and Rossi. So what are your thoughts on this pairing?
Utpalutra or Steel Sneeze, of course, I've seen him for quite a few years now, starting off from when we had Tier X or Tier Xbox, and a very quick driver himself. On his day, he is as fast as some of the Tier 1 drivers, if not faster. So he just needs to, of course, once again work on his consistency, while of course helping his teammate Rossi, who is new to F1 league racing in IRC. To both of them, of course, will have to help each other out to guide themselves to that constructors championship, because if they don't understand each other well from the beginning, then it could turn into a bit of a mess.
Yeah, definitely. And I see a lot of new names in this table as well, because a lot of drivers have joined us. And yeah, obviously, the gone are the days of when COVID was there and we all were sitting at home and we could do league racing. But we are definitely seeing a lot of new drivers who are coming in. So that's really fun to see, and we will see how they perform. But speaking of old drivers, we have EP10 and Satvik, who are paired up in slot 3 right there. So thoughts on that?
I mean, EP10 been here for around 2 or 3 seasons. I think 2 seasons, and yeah, he's just improved from season after season after season, and he's established himself as a proper, contender for podiums race after race in IRC. Satvik, I mean, it's been so long since we've seen his name in a proper season. He was there for Regions Cup, he was there for Challenger Series, but it has been a very long-awaited return for Satvik. And I mean, if we were to go off anything off of Regions Cup and a Challenger Series, he's not like, what he was before. He has improved quite a bit, and clearly by the looks of it, he could be there to contend for the WDC. So, of course, a lot of competition for the WDC already, but I think Satvik will have a big hand in deciding the WDC towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. Some people are calling this the meme team because of the fun attitude of both the drivers. So hopefully, let's see how they perform on the track. But moving on to slot number 4, which is BK19 and Nirvana. So BK19, I have known him from before. I think he's here from season 4 or 5. Been a seasoned driver, improving ever since, and we definitely expect to see really good performance coming out of him. Nirvana seems like a new name to me. Simply, you have any inputs on him?
Well, we haven't seen him much, to be fair. He's also kind of a new driver, has not taken part in the season, if I remember correctly. But, just proving grounds for him. It does put a bit of pressure on him to, of course, prove himself to be up there. But hey, we always love seeing new faces. And of course, it will be nice to see what he can pull off in the coming season ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely hope he attains Nirvana today, if you know what I mean. But yeah, just a small correction. The slot number for this team is 8, not 4. So just correcting myself there. The numbers are not in order because of some reason. So just keep that in mind. Just a small point right there. But moving on to the slot number 4, which is of Mist and Aces Scoop. So again, both season drivers. We don't need to speak much about both of them. Yep. Both have been there since I think season 5 or 6 here at IRC. They are racing in tier 3, tier 2. Very well experienced. This is definitely a team to look out for in terms of constructor championship. Let's move on to slot number 5 of Kimi and Ashwin Nath. I guess both are new drivers. Simply, any inputs on them?
Yeah. Yeah, well, as we saw just the slot before, Mr. and Aces Scoop, seasoned drivers have a lot to, go for in this season. Completely opposite to that. Kimi as well as Ashwin, completely new drivers will have to, of course, prove themselves. We haven't really seen much of them on the track, maybe here or there in a few social races or 5-lappers, but nothing out of that. So, yeah, this is the proper first F1 season at all. So, yeah, they have, again, a lot to prove for themselves, but it will be interesting to see the way they progress throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the same thing carries on to slot number 6, which is of Big B and Varun Shroff. I don't remember them participating in any of our past leagues. We'll see how they perform in the coming up season. So I guess even slot 7, poker player and Major Whipple. New faces there. We can't comment much on their expertise in terms of league racing as they have not participated. Same goes for slot 9, Titan and Mr. Singh. But slot. Yeah.
I would like to correct you there. Titan and Mr. Singh both have taken part earlier.
Okay.
Okay, both of them, especially Titan, he is a solid midfield driver, and he clearly will be carrying that team. But of course, it is good to have a carry because, you know, Mr. Singh, who is slightly inexperienced in terms of overall F1 game compared to, you know, Titan, of course, Titan will be a very big helping hand to Mr. Singh. Of course, they'll be able to, you know, talk to each other, you know, give each other setups and, of course, tips to go forward and improve.
And definitely. So the last slot, that is slot 10, are our seasoned veterans again, ABD and Jose Hero. ABD currently in tier 2 because I believe he is driving on a keyboard or something. This season he has moved from his wheel, so that's why we have to see how he performs on that keyboard. I believe he used to drive on keyboard back in the days as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, when he first joined, he was on keyboard.
Correct. So it should be something like a familiar field for him to get into. So we should expect still some good performance from him. And Jose Hiro, again, has been racing with us since multiple seasons, has been one of our coordinators as well. So definitely some experience coming in as the slot 10 drivers. I guess that's the conclusion of the tier 2 pairings. Please, again, if you want to have a quick look at your slot number, keep in mind your slot number. Again, I am repeating that so that later on you are sure about which teams you are allotted. So that's the reason why the teams column is still a question mark, because this season we haven't assigned the teams. How we will assign that, we will come up to that. But before that, let's move on quickly to tier 1 pairings. So tier 1, almost all the drivers seem like our old, old season drivers. So, just quickly going through them. Slot 1, SSJ, Catty, SSJ quickest. I don't think anyone else. Maybe Helium might compete him, but still quickest in terms of time trials. And Catty again, one of the quickest drivers from Xbox. So no comments on this pairing. Definitely constructor champion there, looks like one. So it just depends on how they perform. And same goes for slot 2. That's Tanish and Helium. So Helium quickest. Tanish was the quickest. Haven't seen him recently racing, but definitely based on what we have seen his times in the time trials that he has submitted, I'm pretty sure he is gonna perform up par with Catty at least. So the slot 1 and 2 can be contenders of Constructor Championship. Slot 3 also shouldn't be left behind. Again, Moto up there with Helium, always used to fight with him. So expecting again the same thing in this season, and he is paired with none other than Simply. So Simply, you have a very good teammate again for this season. So hopefully you guys do some good stuff in terms of constructor. So we'll be excited to see that. But yeah, pairing 4 is myself and Shubh. What are your thoughts on that? I want to hear.
My thoughts, I mean, Dipanshu, you are, of course, been here for quite a while, have done varying amounts of races. I mean, uncountable races at this point, I'm pretty sure, across all of the games and even in F1 itself. So a lot of experience on your hands. And yeah, I believe you might be the guiding beacon on your team. Or Shubh, who has been improving race after race. give you a proper competition. So I think that will be a very heated rivalry between the team. Although some people did say that you are like a father figure to Shubh, considering that how fiery Shubh is and how competitive you are yourself. I think it will be a very, very big fight between the teams itself.
Honestly, I am scared that Shubh might be quicker than me. Not even lying. At least pace-wise, I am definitely sure he is quicker than me. Maybe racecraft is where I might coach him a bit. But anyways, moving on. Let's quickly go on to slot 5. Akash Shanavne, seasoned driver, racing with us in season 5, 6. I can't remember when. And he's paired with Sandeep Marudu. Recently shown up in our radars really quick in the social races, correct? If I'm not wrong.
Yep. Yep.
So definitely an exciting pairing here also. So we'll see how they perform in the constructor battles. And slot 6 goes to Mohan and Lean Sipper. Mohan again showing great pace in social races that we are organizing. Maybe you can comment more on if they participated in the Regions Cup that we had, their performance on that.
Yeah.
Simply.
Yeah, Mohan, I believe, did participate in the Regions Cup. Not a lot of participation, but he was there and he did absolutely well for his region. And of course, he has been here since other seasons as well. And yeah, I think he has a lot to prove for himself and try and dominate the midfield now. Because let's be honest, the first few slots are pretty much taken already by the first 3 teams. The first 6 slots are taken by the first 3 or 4 teams. But yeah, Mohan will have a lot to do to try and dominate that midfield, while also being helped by a real-life driver who is Lean Sipper, also known as Vansh Chadda. So yeah, I mean, a solid pairing. One has real-life experience, one has experience with the drivers around him. Both of them are quick enough to be in tier 1. So let's just see if this team can dominate the midfield.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have more inputs on slot 7? That is Red and Archit. Red, we know he has been part of our tier 2,
Yeah.
tier 1 as well in previous seasons. So it's exciting to see him again in tier 1. But Archit, I don't have much idea about. Could you comment on him?
Archit is once again just one of those drivers, those many drivers that I have mentioned already, that he has been an improving driver, improved quite a bit, and yeah, he's just here to prove himself once again with the help of Slowy Red. Try and compete with Mohan and Lean Sipper to try and nab that top of the midfield position away.
I guess the same goes for the slot 8 of Sai and Ritesh. I guess they will also be battling in the midfield. And Sai, obviously, if he can keep himself out of a wall and finish a race, he can finish. He can finish quite up there. So we are expecting him to at least improve on that front in this season. And Ritesh obviously has been racing with us since many of his seasons. I can't even remember since when he has been a part of our league racing, and definitely that experience is gonna help him in the midfield battle there. And slot 9, moving on to slot 9, is our very own Faizan with King James. So Faizan, who has been constantly active in the the chat that we have here, dissing on everyone. Now is the time that we speak about you. So Faizan has been a really good driver in terms of pace, but the racecraft is where he needs to improve on. But if he can improve on that, he can definitely finish up there in the midfield. And King James, who has been, I think, up there in tier 2 last season,
Yeah,
if I'm not
tier 1 as well sometimes.
yeah, tier 1 as well sometimes. So he is also bringing a good amount of strength to this team, and we'll see how this team performs in the midfield. And finally, the 10th slot number, which goes to Extreme and Destroyer Drac. So again, Extreme, I know him from ACC racing, as well as in the past he has participated in all our F1 racing. So he's one of the guys who does both, both ACC and F1. So in F1 he's definitely way more quicker than in ACC. So this is where he will prove his ground. And Destroyer Drac, simply, you have any comments on him?
He's not been he's not shown a lot of activity outside of the seasons and our events, that we have had, but very quick driver. And yeah, I think this pairing might be up there. Realistic. I mean, yes, the pairing number is 10. It is at the bottom of the pairing, but this is not us sorting them by the pace. But I think realistically, I would just like to add to the fight before between Mohan's team and Red's team. I think this a team of Extreme and Destroyer Track also will be there for midfield, and both Extreme and Destroyer Track on their good days have for sure the capability of fighting for the podiums and maybe even try and challenge someone for the win if it is the right day.
Yeah, definitely. And as Kapil mentioned in the chat, Drak can be the dark horse of this tier, so we can expect to see him outperform other drivers whom we did not even expect. But yeah, that concludes our tier 1, the pairing that we have. And again, I would remind you guys who are watching to remember your slot number for the upcoming team allotment that we will have in the next 1 or 2 slides. But before that, let's quickly go through the reserves that we have for the next season. So for tier 1, we have Dante, Adams, Sager, Ajax and Dark Knight, who are part of our reserve driver pool. They will obviously get a chance as soon as any of the permanent drivers are not available to race that week, and mostly every week we do see 1 or 2 absence because of personal reasons, so they are also in the battle for the prize pool that we have. And in tier 2 we do have Ready Players, Shetty and Deadshot. So Ready Player and Shetty, I guess newcomers. Oh sorry, it's Syed. It's Syed. Just Syed. No Y. I God knows why I was adding a Y. But yeah, Reed Player and Syed are newcomers, and we'll see how they perform. But Deadshot, one of our existing drivers, so we'll definitely see how they perform being a reserve in the actual league race. Anything you want to add on this, Simply?
Actually, I do have just one thing to say. It is unfortunate that someone like Sager is in reserves because of time constraints. He may or may not be available for some of the races. But if he was a full-time driver, I think generally he would have been fighting for the WDC, because I mean, we have seen him improve quite a bit, and as well as in the time trials. I mean, he was there in the top 5, so I think it would have been really nice to see him as a full-time driver. But even the days that he does come in as a reserve, I think the main time drivers will have to watch out for him.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about the, after COVID, we all have gotten back to our lives, so everyone has different commitments. But unfortunately, we won't be seeing him as a permanent driver, but definitely we expect to see him as one of the reserves. So, having said that, it's time for the team allotment. So let's quickly go through the allotment process. So the process is gonna be a random process this season. So why we have gone up with this method is mostly because every time we do ask drivers to fill in their 3 preferences, but whenever we do their pairing with a competent driver which we think would be the best pairing for that tier, we end up having conflicts in the constructor that they have picked. So we end up with drivers not being happy. So rather than us, having to resolve and people having to, feel bad that even we took their options and we didn't give them the constructor that they wanted, this season we went with random allotment, which was informed in the beginning as well when the signups went out. So that's how we will be doing, and the random allotment will be based on a random wheel. So let's have some lucky draw. For people who play Rust, this wheel will be very familiar to see. And for people who have gone to some casinos or Vegas, again, for them it will be very familiar. So
we do not condone gambling, by the way.
Yes, definitely we do not condone any kind of gambling. So yeah, please stay away from it. But yeah, let's move on to the allotment for tier 2 again. These spins will be for tier 2, just to clarify. So whatever we get will be for tier 2, and then we will be doing for tier 1. So on the left side you see a wheel of numbers, so that is your slot number which we will be having. and on the right side you have your constructor. So whatever slot number and constructor it lands on, that's what you are gonna be driving as for the next season. So let's just quickly get started, simply, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's spin the wheel. Ooh, almost had a moment. Let's see. Team 1 will be getting Alpha Tauri for tier 2. Team 1 being Vicious and Wizard of Oz. I don't know if they wanted that car or not, but congratulations, guys. This is what your luck has brought upon you.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't remember your your allotment or your slot number, don't worry, we will be concluding it with in the next slides with your team name mentioned, so you can quickly have a look at that as well. But let's move on to the next spin. So we have team number 6 getting the Haas. So simply, could you quickly say who that would be?
Yes, that is Big B and Varun Shroff.
So you guys will
Getting
be
the Haas.
Yes, you guys will be driving the Haas in the next season. Let's quickly spin it again and let's see what the next teams would be. So team number 10 gets the Mercedes. Sadly,
And
Lewis.
yes, that is ABD and Jose. And Jose will be delighted because he's a massive Mercedes fan and he ended up getting the Mercedes. So amazing stuff for Jose.
Okay, just a side note, we are accepting donations for if any riggery they want. We might or might not do riggery. Just to inform.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, indeed. So let's.
Time to spin the next wheel.
Yes, definitely. Let's spin it
And
again.
we will see.
We have team number 5 getting the Ferrari.
Kimi D and Ashwin getting the Ferrari. Congratulations, guys.
Yep, let's spin it again. We have only 5 more constructor left, I guess. 6 more constructor left. So team number 8 gets the Alpine.
Poke player and Major Vipul getting Alpine. Congratulations, guys.
So 5 more teams left, and we have team number on the edge. Team number 9 getting the McLaren, the Papaya McLaren.
Titan and Mr. Singh.
Congratulations on your McLaren. Let's spin it again. 4 more constructors left. We have Williams, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin and Red Bull on the wheel. But scratch that, Alfa Romeo goes to team number 3.
Yes, great stuff. Yeah, riggery if you want, pay us. Otherwise, stick with it. Spin the wheel again. For 3 more teams remaining, 3 we will see. Team number 2 gets Williams. Congratulations, guys. One of the best looking liveries in the game. So yeah, congratulations.
You see, Red Bull is still left on the wheel for some reason. Somehow Red Bull is the last to be picked. But anyways, we have team 4 and 7. Let's see who gets the Red Bull and who gets the Aston Martin. So it will be team number 7 getting the Aston Martin. That will be?
That will be provisionally. Give me 1 second. Team 7 will be. Wait. Ignore. There has been a bit of a mishap. It will be cleared out later because numbers have been messed up a little bit. But yes, Team 7, whoever you are, you will be revealed later. Congrats on the Aston Martin. Team 4, whoever you are, congrats on the Red Bull.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I don't need to spin it, but for the lols, let's spin it.
And for the lols, while you're spinning it, thank you, Vicious, for the 100 rupees super chat saying, change my constructor, please. Unfortunately, 400 more rupees is required, 500 minimum for riggery.
Then also we don't guarantee it. We definitely don't guarantee it. So that's the conclusion of this particular tier, that is tier 2. So let's quickly go to tier 1. Let me just quickly refresh the page so that we get all the constructors back on the wheel. There you go. So let's start off with tier 1. So let's spin the wheel for the first time. All 10 constructors on board, and let's see who gets what. Slot number 2, I believe it was Helium and someone else who gets the Williams.
Anish and Helium.
Yeah. Tanish and Helium gets the Williams. Let's remove that and let's spin it again. Team number 9 is gonna get the Red Bull. I'm not sure who they were. I guess.
Faizan and King James. Faizan
Ah.
hates the Red Bull, so congrats, Faizan. Nothing is is working your way by the looks of it.
I definitely feel that the wheel is biased. Not at all. Not at all from our side. But Faizan getting Red Bull is the biggest. I don't know, karma or whatever you can call it. But yeah, let's just again spin it. For people who are watching and don't have context, he absolutely hates Red Bull to the core. So it will be fun to see what he drives and how he drives that car. Probably he's gonna blame it on the car itself. But team number 6 gets the Haas.
Yep. That is. Okay, Mohan and Lean Super. Congrats on the Haas, guys.
Yes, definitely. Let's spin the wheel
speed.
again. So we have team number 7. That is.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
That is it.
That is it.
Oh, Ferrari.
So Sai and Ritesh gets the Ferrari. That was on the edge.
Just about.
So Ferrari was in high demand. It could have either gone to Red and Archit or Sai and Ritesh, but at the end it went to Sai and Ritesh. So let's spin it again. My team and your team simply both are left on the wheel. Team number 5, Akash Sonavne and Sandeep Maridu gets the Alpha Tauri.
AlphaTauri.
So congrats on that. Maybe you guys are happy, maybe you are not. We'll get to know later on. Faizan has already told in the chat that he has resigned from the next season. So let's see what he does. But team number 7, that is Red and Archit, gets the Mercedes. So they missed Ferrari by one, slight bit, and they get Mercedes. Is this reverse of Lewis Hamilton? What is happening?
Clearly so.
But yeah, simply your team, my team is still left on the board, and I guess SSJ's team is also left, and Extreme Teams is also left. We have Alpine, McLaren, Aston Martin, and Alfa Romeo on the wheel. Let's see who gets what. I guess this will be team number 1. Ooh,
Aston Martin.
So SSJ and Catty gets Aston Martin. I believe Catty has driven Aston Martin in previous seasons, if I'm not wrong.
He has. That was in when we had season 3 for Xbox. So around 4 years ago, and both of them die-hard Ferrari fans. Clearly not what they wanted.
Oh yeah, definitely both of them die-hard Ferrari fans. But Dan is happy. Dan is actually happy in the chat. So
Interesting.
very interesting indeed. So
Fossey, watch out. You have a backstabber.
So your team gets a McLaren.
Yeah.
So
I will take it.
So Moto and Simply gets the McLaren. Congratulations on that. Is just Alpine and Alfa Romeo. I just want Alpine, please, Alpine, please. I don't want Alfa Romeo. Oh, yes, I get the Alpine. Team 10 gets Alfa Romeo. So Extreme and Destroy Drag. Congratulations on Alfa Romeo and myself and Shubh Kumar. We'll be driving the Alpine, blue car. So yeah, that's definitely what I would have preferred. So everyone is calling it rigged. Unfortunately, not in my hands. You saw it spin here first. There is no option to put weight for lols. I still get the Alpine. So there's the final grid that has been set. We will be getting back to you guys in 2 minutes with the final allotment that we have. Meanwhile, Simply, what are your thoughts on what we have, the team pairing that we have?
I mean, as far as team pairings go, not the team allotments, team pairings go, yeah. Tier 1, Tier 2, especially Tier 2 is gonna have amazing amounts of racing and a proper fight throughout. And yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch these guys just battle it out. Few chaos bits here and there, perhaps. But of course, we'll be looking at hopefully a fully clean season with amazing racing, all pretty much on equal footing. And as far as Tier 1 goes, yeah, I mean, we have maybe 3-4 teams which are there, which will be fighting it out for the constructors, and everyone involved within those 3 or 4 teams will be fighting it out for the drivers championship. So it all comes down to what these guys can do and what they can, of course, pretty much do team strategies, I guess, and yeah, work with each other to try and get past the other guys. And then once you have cleared the other guys, fight up between each other, fire up that that inter-team rivalry, and provide everyone watching as well as taking part with some absolutely amazing championship that we will have, of course, coming.
Definitely. At the end, these constructors don't mean anything to anyone. It's just, equal cars. Maybe some people prefer the noise that the cars make. Some people don't like that noise. So that's the only factor. But yeah, like once you put in enough time with any car, you should be up to pace, and that's what we will be seeing once these drivers go on the track. I believe this week itself on Australia, if I'm not wrong. Correct,
Yep.
Simply? So the attendance is out. If you don't have access to the channels, don't worry. The roles will be given. If you haven't gotten, please inform us. I believe the roles would be given by today night, if I'm not wrong. Simply, any information on that you have?
No information, unfortunately.
But yeah, anyways, the grid reveal happened today. So by today night or max to max by tomorrow, you guys will have the roles. And once you have the roles, you guys will be able to see an attendance channel for your respective tiers. So go there, mark your attendance, and we'll see you guys on the track this Sunday in Melbourne. So I guess we are having Melbourne after a long time. I guess it wasn't there in the last season, or was it there?
Quite a few tracks are actually making a return. To be honest, Dipanshu, Melbourne, I do believe, is one of them. Baku is a track which we have surprisingly never had in our proper seasons. We've had it in Regions Cup, to add a bit of chaos and in pace off and other things, but we've never had it in a proper season. So a proper debut for Baku, and we'll obviously also have Portugal as the fifth round in this season, which is also making a big debut, I believe. Qatar, the first track of this game, which is new, which we will be introducing. Let's see, we have Imola, Zandvoort. All of them will be producing good close racing, and we have Singapore with its updated layout. Same old track, of course, but the updated layout. Lap times will become slightly faster, but yeah, still Singapore, known for its chaos, will remain as it is. And yeah, I believe these are a few tracks that people should especially be looking out for, because of one, they're new. Anything could happen in those. For all we know, we could have the best races we've seen in IRC on those tracks. And yeah, I mean, let's just wait and see, I guess. With the other tracks, of course, the classic ones like Silverstone, China, Kota, Abu Dhabi, all producing amazing racing. And yeah, it's going to be a very fun season once again.
Yeah, definitely. And I have just put up the calendar that you were speaking about on the, on the screen right now for everyone to see. And hopefully, this will give you an idea of how long our season is gonna be. And definitely, Baku, you were telling it's been, I think, 3 or 4 seasons since we had Baku in our league race. So it's fun to see it making a return. And I believe Australia we never had on the new updated layout. So again,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun to just see that on the updated layout, how it actually impacts the racing. But yeah, the final grids are out. So let's just quickly go through the tier 2 grid. So this is what the grid looks like right now. Vicious Wizard, could you just quickly go through the grid?
Absolutely. Vicious and Wizard of Oz will be in the Alpha Tauri, followed by Utpalutra and Rossi in the Williams. EP10 Satwik Alfa Romeo, BK19 Nirvana in the Red Bull, Mist and Aces Scoop in the Ferrari, Kimi Ashwin in the Haas, Big B, Varun Shroff in the Aston Martin, Poke Player, Major Whipple in the Alpine, Titan 23, Mr. Singh in the McLaren, and finally ABD and Jose Hero, who's absolutely delighted to get the Mercedes.
Definitely. Let's just quickly go through tier 1 as well. SSJ Catty in the Aston Martin SSJ. We saw him being happy in the chat there. Tanish and Helium in the Williams. I guess Helium was in the Williams last to last season as well. So familiar footing for him. Moto Simply in the McLaren, myself and Shubh Kumar in the Alpine, Akash Sonavne, Sandeep Maridu in AlphaTauri, Mohan and Lynn Sieper in Haas, Red and Archit in Mercedes, Sai and Ritesh in the Ferrari, Faizan and King James Red Bull. Faizan has already resigned. Let's see if he comes back. Extreme and Destroyer Drac in the Alfa Romeo. So this is the final grid reveal that we had. If you missed your name or if you weren't present in this stream for some reason, we will be putting, or you will be getting the respective roles by today or tomorrow, worst case, and you will be able to see the attendance and mark and join us this weekend. But I guess that's it from our side. Thanks everyone who joined us to watch the grid reveal. Simply, any final takes you have?
Well, not too much, but just stay tuned for this Sunday, 2:30 as well as 8 p.m. for a season beginner at Australia. And let's just hope that we start the season off quite well and, of course, finish it quite well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all who joined us today. Stay tuned. Come back on Sunday when we finally stream tier 1 at least, and we'll see you then. But if you like what we do here, consider joining our community. Links to everything will be down in the description below, and you can also be a part of this league race that we have here. But yeah, that's it from me and